I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
I'm Jesper de Jong.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I am Francisco Cerundolo, and you are listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Here we are with a short news clip, but we thought we better bring this one live. Obviously, the big man himself, the guy who was undefeated this year in Grand Slams, Rafael Nadal, has been knocked out of the US Open in the fourth round by Frances Tiafoe in 4 sets in the biggest shock of the tournament so far. An incredible performance from Frances Tiafoe. We can't take anything away from him. But now the doors are wide open for somebody else to go on and grab this US Open title, JG.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin, really. Maybe let's start with a photo of Frances Tiafoe. And you can see there how much it meant to him. He must have walked out on court with not really too much belief in himself. No one really does when they go against the big three. So many times you play them and you often lose. I know Gasquet has played the big three 53 times and he's won 3 matches. Tiafoe had played them prior to today 7 times, never won a match until obviously the 8th time today. He'd only ever won 3 sets against the big three. So it's just been such a big task. And if you accompany beating the big three and then saying in a Grand Slam, it's even tougher. And it doesn't happen every day. So what Frances Tiafoe has been able to achieve tonight has been nothing short of remarkable. And I want to start by just saying congratulations to him, because he didn't win this match because of luck. He didn't win it because Rafa was having a really bad off day. He won it through heart, desire, and an ability, if I'm honest. Skill and ability. He was serving down in the first set 135-mile-an-hour aces. He did one towards the end, 137, serving big. We're talking about Kyrgios the other day, how he was serving. Frances Tiafoe knocked him out the park today. And that wasn't really the best part about his game. He wasn't just a serve bot. In fact, Rafa was getting quite a few of the serves back in play, and he was starting to read it as the match went on. Tiafoe just played it exceptionally well. I mean, the backhands, amazing. So many winners. He just looked a lot faster than Rafa. And I hate to say it, but Rafa looked old tonight. It was the first time I've really felt it. It was just a really hard loss to take. It's definitely upset me quite a bit, the way it all panned out. And just a big thought I was thinking about the whole time was just looking at Rafa, and he just looked a bit old in the press room. Some of the comments he's saying, he was struggling to get around the court at times. And regardless of me saying that, he's still, if not the best, one of the best players in the world right now. And I'm not talking about 5-6 years ago. If you was to play him in a match tomorrow or the next day, there's a good chance he'll beat most players still. And I'm talking about Medvedev, Djokovic, the lot. He's still at the top of his game now, where he can beat everyone pretty much. But yet I'm looking at him and I just think he's a bit past it. And it's hard to say that because he's had such a brilliant year. And am I just over-exaggerating in the heat of a moment of a big loss? It just feels like I think it was bigger than just tonight.
Nah, not for me. I understand your hurt and your pain through watching Rafael Nadal lose. I don't think Rafael Nadal played that badly this evening. I think he actually played pretty well. In the second set, he looked like I was convinced that it was going to be like a Rafa with a comeback, like he drops a set. He might even drop 2 sets, but he comes through. I just think it's credit to Tiafoe. He played outstandingly well today. And I think even if he played anybody, he would have won. He hit 49 winners in the match today. It was incredible. His serving was impeccable. And the thing for me, I know you're saying Rafa was looking slow, but I think that the pace of some of Tiafoe's shots in the rallies, and his racket head speed looked incredible. It's just the whip he gets on the ball to flick it to side. Rafa was having to run to the corners to get the ball back in play, and it made him look slow because he was having to run so far. And that's credit to Tiafoe, I think. It's not often we get to see Tiafoe playing that level that we sort of expected from him at a young age, but he never quite ever lived up to it. Tonight, that was the Tiafoe. That's the Tiafoe everyone expected. Oh, this guy's going to be the real deal. He's going to win the slap. That was Tiafoe. That's the real one we saw tonight. He can challenge anybody playing like that, I believe. And I don't think I think Rafa comes back, and I think Rafa still does win more titles. But it's just tonight he was just beaten by the better guy on the night. That's the sad reality, I think.
Here we can see a disappointed Rafa.
that classic face.
But on a plus, I mean, not a bad Grand Slam record. 22 victories, the one
Amazing.
loss. You can see his season as it unfolded. Of course, he withdrew before the Wimbledon semi-final through injury, so that doesn't count as a loss. But this one did count as a loss. And during the commentary, there's a lot of times you was talking about how you felt Rafa's going to come back into this one. You can never, ever write him off because of what he's shown in the past in previous matches. I mean, the Australian Open typifies that because there was a period where he had a 4% chance of winning the match. I believe he was 2 sets down, 2-3, love 40. And I think I called you delusional at the time for suggesting that Rafa can get back into that one. And you always believed, you said he's going to be able to do it. However, the thing with this belief is it goes only so far. And when you're watching something unfold, I found in this situation that what happened is not just you, but a lot of people are just so track-minded that, oh, he's going to be all right. That if you're just watching the match, you can see he's not actually all right. There was a lot of early signs that Rafa wasn't getting back into that match. And I felt it a lot towards the beginning of the fourth set.
Well, he was up a break in the fourth set. He was 3-1 up.
Yeah,
he lost
and that's when I saw it
in a row.
Yeah, and that's when I saw. So the beginning of the fourth, when he's 3-1 up, and when he first got broken back, you started seeing something with Nadal. He just simply looked a bit old out there. And Rafa said this in his press room afterwards, and some of the quotes. And it just looked like I don't think he was going to come back into this one. And Tiafoe was the younger, fresher guy who had the bigger shots, quite frankly. He had more power than Rafa tonight. He was moving it around. Rafa did quite well to make it competitive. You know you're going to get fight from him. That's not one thing. That's one thing you can never doubt. But this, I felt like, was a situation where you don't blindly just support and say he's going to come back without any... If you're watching the thing, it didn't look like he was going to come back. He was 3-1 up, and when he got broken back, the warning signs were really alarming. It was like, it's something's going on here. This doesn't happen. The way it was going, it'd have been a lot better if Tiafoe was up 3-1, Rafa broke back, and then you'd have a little bit more optimism. But from Rafa in a winning position, then losing that fourth, I had a really strong incline. You never know in tennis, things can change. Rafa could have pulled some great shots out in the way he can. But I was very, very touch and dry that I was pretty confident. I don't want to say confident he was going to lose, but I had a real good incline that was going to be the end of him, this tournament.
There was just like when we were watching the match earlier with some of those rallies in that fourth set, even when I was convinced he was still playing well because he was still hitting the ball pretty clean. The trouble was every time he hit the ball really clean and hard into a corner, Tiafoe got it and got a winner off it or something. It was incredible. I think he was getting lost for answers, Rafa, on where's the winner coming from? If I'm doing my normal shots, which are normally winners, and Tiafoe's hitting winners from them, and Tiafoe's serving, despite it being great, it wasn't really even that good. He hit 50% of first serves today. Wasn't really like a good serving performance from either player. Both 50% of their first serves in today. So not great on the serving front, but Tiafoe, 18 aces. And I think that tells a story. Like you saw right at the end, he wasn't buckling under the pressure like we normally see from Tiafoe. He served aces, and I said it on the stream. I said, "You watch. I think he's going to serve an ace now. When the pressure's off, he serves an ace. When the pressure's on, he's not the same. But he serving like 137 mile an hour aces, like you said. It's just
On
I've
the
not
whole,
seen that
he
from him.
handled the pressure extremely well. We've got John in.
Yeah.
He's saying Rafa never got to grips with Francis' serve all night, was guessing a lot on his first serve and guessing wrong more than half the time. Yes,
Yeah.
that is a good point. Rafa was struggling, just returning the serve and getting into the points. And when he was, I feel a lot of the time he's going into the net, or Francis was just attacking the other corner. And the biggest part for me was, I agree with Michael a little bit. Tiafoe just seemed the stronger, faster version of Nadal. And that's why I keep saying the same line. I was watching him out there and he started to look a little bit old. And I was getting a bit worried. I mean, I don't know now. I don't know now what it means for Nadal moving forward. I know you're saying, yeah, he's going to be fine. Are we going to see him go deep in slams again? Everyone's going to say, oh, I'm getting too much. I'm getting too down in the moment. But he's had such a fantastic year with everything what's going on off the court, with his wife,
Yeah.
a child on the way, other priorities, all the injuries he's had. I think it's mounting, and it's taking its toll. And I think it's reached the point of tipping point. And this is just my take on the whole thing. I think it's such a momentous night tonight. It's so big for so many reasons. And I think, unfortunately, we've seen the best. We've seen the best. I don't think there's better to come. And
not even a Roland
it hurts me
Garros.
to say that. I don't know. Not even at Roland Garros. I don't know. Let's see what Rafa had to say. He said, I played a bad match. He played a good match. At the end, that's it. I was not able to keep the high level long enough. He took the ball too many times very early.
Yep.
He also said, tennis is a sport of position a lot of times. If not, you need to be very quick or very young.
Yes.
And he was alluding to that as well. And I felt, I'm so glad. This is why. This was the first tweet I sent you, because the moment I saw it, I was like, exactly what I had in my head. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better myself. I was watching it, and you could tell that Rafa he needed to be a little bit quicker, a little bit younger, and his body was failing him. Everything was failing him. And maybe if it's not just his body, you've got to think his mind maybe was, and not for him not wanting to win. We know how much he gives on the court, but there's so much going on off the court with his wife and everything. I can imagine that does play a factor. Of course, he's got a son on the way. He's never had a kid before. There's a lot of complications and stresses around that. And I think it's all taken its toll. It's been a very busy season. This was the last slam. I think there's added pressure on him. Look at all the stuff how what he's put up with this year the press room when we've been there, and all the signatures and the constant harassment day in, day out.
Yeah,
I think he's a man who's just stressed. It's all been just far too much. He's overworked. It's just intense. And this is my take on it. And I'm so sad, because I feel like it is now him coming. This is it.
Well, people always said
this is the end.
They sort of like,
it's not the end, but it's on the way down.
Critiqued sort of what I was saying. Like I was saying, I felt sorry for him after seeing him at Wimbledon and seeing like the amount of like stress. Like he sort of had certain moments at Wimbledon where he became not the press Rafa, more the human Rafa, just for a second. And you got to see behind the mask that he puts on for the press, like just for a second, and him like putting his head in his hands just for even a split second, just before other reporter asked him a question, was just enough to realize that, yeah, I mean, he's dealing with a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of pressure. Everyone wants to know, how's your injury? How's your foot? How's your abs? How's your this? How's your that? How's your wife? When are you next playing your next Grand Slam? When are you going to retire? Are you bothered what Djokovic is doing? All these questions are constantly being fired at him all the time. It's going to take its toll, like on his life. And I don't think he's done. But I do think it's taking a toll on him for sure.
Well, listen to this, Michael. 1984, McEnroe went 82 wins, 3 losses. He never won a major again after that year.
incredible. What a
I
year.
mean, I've seen it a few times as well with other tennis players. It can happen. It can happen overnight. I really
for
believe
sure.
that. And with all the changes,
Well,
it's definitely coming to a sad time.
The one thing I was going to say is, like, I know that Nadal has played incredibly over the course of the Australia one. I don't even understand how he won that. Like, it was almost like a fairy tale, the Australia win. Roland Garros, he got the injections, he numbed his foot, he just bit down on the mouthpiece and just went through the whole tournament and said, I'm just winning this, as if it was his last ever tournament. When he played Wimbledon, if I'm not being too harsh on Rafa, I feel that if it was somebody with a bit more bottle than Taylor Fritz, they would have beaten him that day. Like, it's just like, if that was somebody playing their best, like Tiafoe today played like you have to do to beat Nadal if he's not playing well. You can clean him off the court if you're playing really well. Like Kyrgios would have cleaned Nadal off the court today as well. Like those type of players who are more clinical on the day, clean him off the court. People with not as much bottle on the mental side goes, no.
Mate,
And that's
talking
why
of Kyrgios, can you see now how I think he was the favourite to win
he's
the
the
US
favourite
Open?
now. I think he's definitely the favourite.
I mean,
now.
he was the favourite before Rafa went out today, by the way. I showed you the bookies. They had him as favourite.
They did.
And irrelevant to the bookies, I don't care what they have to say with that. He was the favourite. I'm telling you, this has only just showed that even further. But
he showboated against the reigning champion and still beat him.
I mean, Kyrgios was the favourite before this match. He still is the favourite after it. That's all I'm going to say on that. And I'm glad I stuck to my guns on that point. Another quote from him is...
You got the score right as well. Don't forget that.
Well, lucky.
4 sets. 4 sets Kyrgios.
Yeah, well, Nadal said, the last few weeks have been tough. Now I just want to go home. I have more important things to care about than tennis. I have to fix a major thing like having my first son. So you can see he's already talking about that as well. He said another thing, Nadal planned to go back to Spain to support his pregnant wife. Doesn't know when he will be back. On when he's going to be back. When I feel that I will be ready to compete again, I will be there. So we don't know when he's going to play next. No. I think he's going to play he's going to play a few more events this year, guaranteed. We've got the Laver Cup, which is pretty much an exhibition. I don't really get behind it much at all. And I think he's got such a hunger to play tennis. He's not going to just pack it in. But my worry is, how's he going to be able to perform at the top level with all of these other things happening to him and life catching up on him? Let's be honest, it's catching up on him. And today it was exposed like I've never seen before. Rafa out there today against a young Frances Tiafoe with nothing to lose, hungry, hitting the ball well. I agree with what you said about Taylor Fritz at Wimbledon, because if Taylor Fritz was able to play his best tennis for the whole duration of that Wimbledon thing, he probably would have won that as well. Tiafoe was able to do it, and that's the fruits of his labour. We're coming to an end of an era, quite frankly. Yeah. Serena's retired now on the women's. Yep. Federer, as good as retired. Yeah. Djokovic still seems pretty fresh-ish, but who knows? I mean, it can happen quick. He's not even playing. So, but with Nadal, I have a really bad feeling about it. I'm not sure if 23 will be made.
I think if it
is, I think it's all happened rather quick for me.
I think if it is made, then I think this, if anything, this may have come at like the best time for him. He may be able to take now maybe the rest of the year off. If you're having a son, you can have the best time of his life, like raising his son for the first like few months and comes all the way back round to then the clay court season again, or maybe he doesn't. Who knows if he plays the hard court swing or something like that, and maybe just plays Roland Garros, wins Roland Garros again. It's possible.
Nadal also said it's normal that 15 minutes after a loss in the last Grand Slam of the season to feel everything is dark and it's difficult to have the positive energy to look ahead. But days will pass and I'll keep going as I've done my whole career. I'm confident I have the interior strength to do it.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I think this is what everyone can use in every walk of life, to be honest. There's going to always be dark days. It's about having a positive outlook and keep fighting through it. That better days will be around the corner. And this is just one of them sad days for Rafa.
Well, Daniel Medvedev should read that as well, because that could really play a real big part in his like recovery from. I've mentioned it before when he was playing in that match against Kyrgios. I feel that he's had say an unfair reign as world number one. Like he became world number one. And since he became world number one, obviously the war and all that type of thing, he's never had anyone on his side. He's had terrible run of results. He's had probably a lot of personal stress due to it. And everybody's slating him. He's not been allowed to play Wimbledon. He's gone out of the US Open, his reigning champion. And I feel like he's probably feeling like this year is terrible if I'm Daniel Medvedev. And I feel that he needs some support as well, because I feel like he's had a little bit of a torrid time this year. It's
unfortunate because he's actually played some good tennis in it. But it's just been.
I like
sometimes it happens. Like Kyrgios said, if I'd have played Medvedev 10 times, he'd beat me 9 of them.
Yeah, possible.
And today was just one of them days where I was able to beat him. Kyrgios said that. Listen, he's a great player, Medvedev. I think he's still the best on the hard courts. John there just clarifying. Nadal said on Instagram, "Thanks, New York. See you next year." I don't doubt he's not going to be playing tennis. I'm not saying that at all. Yeah. He'll play all 4 slams next year as long as his body allows him to.
Yeah.
I don't think he's winning any of them, though. And it's just something which is maybe an instinctive thing. I might change my mind, and I'm well entitled to change my mind. But how I feel right now, I don't think he's going to push on like I thought he was going to, for example. I saw something tonight, and I don't want to dramatize it. I saw something tonight in the way he was playing, and I thought, you know what? He's not quite getting to these balls like he was. He seems a bit slow. Maybe it was an issue with the wrist. Maybe it was something completely not related to his age or everything that's going on. Yeah, he went off in the first set. Apparently, I'm not sure if it was a medical timeout or not. It doesn't seem like it was. It wasn't announced by anyone. He just went off and took 8.5 minutes, 10 minutes between points.
Okay.
No, behind closed doors. No one saw anything.
It came up as medic on the thing. That's all I was talking about.
Oh, okay. So potentially it was, but strange that he had to do it behind closed doors. We've got John in there saying the last time none of Serena Williams, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer won the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam was 2003 US Open. Yeah, it's definitely a moving of the guard, and I think this next tweet highlights it right on cue, because now we have the updated number one scenarios. So Nadal can still become world number one. If Ruud and Alcaraz fail to reach the final.
Oh, okay.
Alcaraz will be number one if he wins the title. He loses in the final to someone not named Ruud. Ruud can be number one if he wins the title. And he loses in the final to someone not named Alcaraz.
Imagine if Casper Ruud becomes world number one.
That'll be a travesty for the sport. I'm going to say it right now. Casper Ruud, great player. But I just don't think it's good for the sport that he's world number one. He doesn't fill me with...
doesn't fill the stands.
He doesn't fill the stands, number one. And he's just someone who plays ridiculous. Like Kyrgios said, he's someone who plays every event, Casper Ruud, and he just picks up points like that. I know he got to the final of Roland Garros. He's a good player. I don't want to disrespect him, but I just don't think he's the best player in the world. And for me, I think that's a bit... I don't think it's a good look for the sport if he's world number one. I know some people are going to disagree. I'm sorry, Lexi, because I know you're a big fan of Casper Ruud. But listen, I'm on here to say my opinion, and that's my opinion of it. If Casper Ruud's world number one, not good. Alcaraz, on the other hand, would be better. Yeah. But still, I don't know if he is the best player in the world. For me, it's got to be either a Medvedev, Nadal, or a Djokovic as world number one. If you're looking at it as the best player, Zverev just on the cusp. Definitely not Tsitsipas. But yeah, that's the scenarios for world number one.
Okay, cool.
We got here in Spanish, Nadal did say on the possibility of new world number one, it means that the years are passing. It's life. World moves on. That's natural.
Yep.
He was pretty much on the same wavelength as me, Rafa, talking about maybe deflecting a little bit off what happened today and just not making excuses for it, but just going along the lines of, I'm not expecting, I can't always win, basically. It's going to come a time when me, Djokovic, Federer aren't going to win all these events. And this is what we're seeing right now.
Well, I think everybody needs to put into perspective is like his year that he's had this year. No one expected him to have this year at all. He won the first 2 Grand Slams of the year and then got to the semi-finals of Wimbledon. I think even that, if he just stopped and didn't play anything else, everyone had gone like, wow, what an amazing year from Rafa. I mean, didn't expect him to be doing that. The fact that he even came and played the US Open, I mean, still got through to the fourth round. I think one of the detriments of the tournament was the fact that he didn't really have any warm-up. I know that I said he could probably warm up as the tournament went on. I don't take it back a bit now because I think Djokovic can do it probably a bit better than Rafa can, to be honest. I feel that Rafa maybe needed that Cincinnati for the warm-up, and losing to Coric so early, maybe he didn't get the warm-up he needed for the US Open. Who knows?
I don't know if it was that. I think he played well enough against Gasquet.
It was an exhibition, that was.
Just well, I mean, Tiafoe usually beats like he does to Gasquet, so you can't really say that. Just these things happen in sport. But let's end on a positive one because I know it's getting late. And this is Ollie, a big Rafa fan. He said, if you'd have said in December 2021 that Rafa Nadal could have won 2 of the next 4 slams and have a chance to be world number 1 again, not many would have believed it, yet he did it. He may have lost tonight, but 2022 has been a special season, and the best part of it is it's not over. And that's a nice positive tweet there with the Roland Garros title and also the Australian Open one, which come as a big shock.
Totally
it
agree.
Is really disheartening for me because I was pretty confident in him winning this US Open, and it's been a real reality shock in a way, which has it's hurt. I mean, it's sad. It's seriously sad. I am quite a big Rafa fan, and I sometimes only realize when he loses how much. It's always the same with everything, though. You realize how much something means to you when it's too late, but not that it's too late, but like when it's gone, you realize. Like when someone's always winning, you take it for granted. And I think I've taken for granted Rafa this year, and this puts it all into perspective. Really, what he has achieved is remarkable. It is special, and you can never ever write him off, even next year. But saying that, if I had to give my initial impression right now from what I saw, him moving around the court, I don't think he can compete with the youngsters. And when I say that, Alcaraz probably will be better next year. Yannick Sinner will be better next year. All of the others will be better next year. Even, say, a Frances Tiafoe, a Taylor Fritz. There's a lot of good young players on tour. I don't think Rafa can keep up with them. And not just him. I think Djokovic is going to start to struggle as well because life moves on. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing the next stage of life.
We are indeed. Yeah, Djokovic, he's not immune either. He may have an extra year or something, but Father Time catches up with everybody.
Right, let's wrap it up there.
Indeed.
Before I cry on air.
But
thank you everyone for joining us tonight. If you haven't already, give us a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. Vamos, Rafa. You lost tonight, but hopefully we see you again soon. And of course, congratulations to Frances Tiafoe. Wishing him the best of luck in the next round against Andre Rublev. A winnable match at that. And who knows, he could go all the way and lift the trophy.
Well, it's mad to think that one of those two is going to be in a Grand Slam semi-final.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Cheers, guys.